My overall opinion is that the Hizmet Movement has just been a tremendous force for good and for influencing the spiritual and material well-being and educational well-being of just hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. God, not I'm Reverend Elwood McDowell, pastor of Trinity Baptist Church in Tucson, Arizona. I was an adjunct at the University of Arizona in religious studies and Africana studies for 22 years, and I'm just grateful to be a part of sharing some things about the Gulen movement. I was a speaker at an interfaith event in Tucson following the horrible killing of a Sikh gentleman right after 9/11, and some of the members of the Hizmet Movement saw me, heard me speak, and afterwards asked me if I would speak at an interfaith dialogue banquet, and from there I was asked if I would be interested in going to Turkey. My overall opinion is that the Hizmet Movement has just been a tremendous force for good and for influencing the spiritual and material well-being and educational well-being of just hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. I visited a couple of universities and schools in Turkey. I feel that the approach to educating the whole person is really what education ought to be about, and I highly admire not only the educational influence, but every influence that this movement has had in terms of looking out for people's well-being. I personally find, in having watched some videos of Mr. Gulen as well as read some of his books, that he is a person of great integrity and spiritual depth. He truly, truly believes in experiencing God in the heart through Islam in a way that I think is tremendous. And I feel that if all of us can understand God as living first in the heart, we have so much of a greater chance of truly, truly caring about every human being that we meet. It's not just a matter of following religious rituals. It's a matter of really trusting and knowing God from deep within. The most important contributions of Mr. Gulen and the movement to the common good in Turkey and elsewhere, as far as I can tell, is that people are being raised up who really do know God, as I want to say, in a deeply spiritual way, and whose education empowers them to be servants of God, not just civic servants who have no idea of the need for God's guidance and direction in our lives in civic society. And I believe that he is interested in people, no matter what their political affiliation, that young people who are raised up in that kind of training and in that kind of prayer, etc., can only have and have had a wonderful influence on everyone around them. From my point of view, it represents Islam in such a powerful way, because the heart of Islam is submission to Allah, and submission to God is what every religion should be about. It is not a matter of manipulating God through, again, just outward ritual. It's a matter of surrendering to God's will in our lives in the depths of our soul and heart, in a way that overflows into the way we carry ourselves in relationship to people. and I think it's right on target. The closest thing that I could perhaps compare the movement to would probably be Gandhi's movement in India, even though that's no longer in full force the way it used to be. But Gandhi's desire to see genuine justice and love in India from a spiritual point of view, and to be concerned about the material as well as spiritual welfare of all the people, no matter what their religious background and so forth, is so similar to the Hizmet movement. And I hope that the movement will continue to prosper in some way, no matter what is happening in Turkey and elsewhere. In the Muslim world itself, my hope is, as was explained to me in Turkey, that the Hizmet movement can help be a bridge between the East and the West, religiously as well as civically, and that more peace can come between the Islamic world and the world of Christians and Jews and other people in the world as a result of the influence of the Hizmet movement. I really have great respect for the interfaith activities of the Hizmet movement. When some of the members of the movement were invited to my own church, we shared in a beautiful way from the backgrounds of various people, their experience with God and with life in general. And it was just a marvelous experience to do that together. And the Hizmet movement does not attempt to convert everybody to Islam. It shows respect for other people's beliefs. And I find that very, very helpful. I believe that education is absolutely necessary for people in all parts of the world, whether developing parts of the world or otherwise. And having schools in conflict zones, to me, in terms of some of the Hizmet schools, can help make a difference in terms of people from different backgrounds understanding each other better in the way that children are educated in those school systems. I am very, very impressed with the charitable activities of the Hizmet movement. It tries to help people irrespective of their backgrounds, ethnic and otherwise, and I think that is the only way a true child of God can operate. It's kind of like Mother Teresa helping people who are Hindu in India. She loved people as children of God, irrespective of the fact that they may not have been Christian. In my experience in Turkey, I was very impressed with the media station owned by the Hizmet movement in terms of the kind of programming that was provided that was in line with the Islamic values and family, etc., of the movement. I feel that in this country we need to have a lot more influence in terms of my own religion in a non-preachy way in the media, in a way that can help spread humane values in society. And I also had a wonderful experience listening to some speakers in Izmir and in Niğde, people who were wonderfully spiritual, and I was very, very moved. I experienced a very godly worship experience in the Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul, where when the Imam, as I understand it, who's known as being very spiritual all over Turkey, started to chant from the Quran, people were so full emotionally they started to shout praises to God. And I felt really comfortable because we do that in the black church in this country. In my experience in the last 9 years of knowing the movement, I have not had any experiences in which people have been in any way suspicious to me. I have known many persons who are part of the movement, and as I mentioned before, visited with friends who are part of it in Atlanta and here in Tucson and Phoenix and in Turkey, and I have found that everything seems to be above board, in my opinion. There's nothing suspicious or underhanded about any of their activities.
Nothing is perfect, but the movement and the people within it are trying and doing some wonderful things within the community. Every place I see them.
In Islam, people think that you cannot study Islam contextually and adapt it to the present situation. But with Gulen's philosophy, you come to realize that with Islam, you can actually transform the world and make the world a peaceful heaven, because Islam means peace.